Okay guys, so I'm just going to quickly show you this Adobe Ideas app which I want you to use over the next couple of weeks for City Week or weeks when you're bored or got some downtime to start creating elements for your music videos. So just give it a tap and I'll explain as I go. So what it is it's like a vector-based painting program. So we talked about vectors and we talked about bitmaps. Because we're using Flash uses vectors. So just quickly again as a recap, vectors, when you draw with a vector, it doesn't matter how big or small you scale it after it's done, it'll always keep its same quality because it uses points and all this kind of stuff, which I showed you last time. But what this does is it lets you make these little vector files. So I'm just going to click a new, just tap the plus here. And you've got your canvas, okay? So basically you can draw on here like you would, you know, in any kind of art program. You've got layers down here, okay? So we can do a new layer, we can hide it, we can change the opacity back and forth there, or we can do a new layer as well. So again, like Photoshop, you can do lots of separate layers and they won't affect each other, which is really cool. But yeah, the difference here between any other painting programs is the images that you actually draw on here, okay, will save as a vector. So you can then send this to your computer into Flash and open these up, and then you can edit them a little bit more, or you can actually put them straight into your music clip. So they're really handy to create these simple little elements. So what I'm thinking you could do here is, you know, while you're sitting there on City Week, you can start to draw whatever elements are going to appear in your music video. Okay, you can put them here, and then you can save this as another item. So if we just go to export up here, if you press up there, you can email it, or you can obviously save it as well. So if you go back, it'll then be sitting there in your library, and you can make another one, and off you go. So you can create all your little individual elements on the iPad on the go, and then email them to yourself back on the computers back at school, and just import them straight in. So I'll quickly go through another couple of things. You've got your size here, so it's really cool. If you just click it, it'll scroll up and down. So that's the size of your brush. Okay, so even though you might be painting with your finger, it'll still be really quite detailed. So I'll tap that and go down to a small one. There we go. So you can actually get some really kind of detailed stuff in here. I mean, a little bit tricky. You know, if you pinch, you can zoom in, you know, and draw some more fine details, you know, and then zoom out and continue going. All right, so I'll just bring that back up there. Opacity, obviously we talked about that. That's the opacity or the how much you can see through everything. Moves your canvas around, and there's your paintbrush there. Okay, and you can see you've got a few options. So you've actually got more of a paintbrush style, and so that's really cool. So you can actually see it actually works like a paintbrush, which is awesome. We've then got a highlighter, which is quite fat. Alright, there we go. Now I'm working on one layer here the whole time, so obviously this is a bad idea, because now if I want to erase, I'm going to lose everything. Okay, so again, make sure you work on separate layers if you're going to create a few elements in here. Then we've got our kind of a calligraphy pen, I guess you could say. So depending on how you move your finger, so if I go straight down, it's a straight line, but if I move it and then turn, you get that cool little effect there as well. And then your paint bucket, which will fill a big block of paint there. There we go. So how the paint bucket works, I might actually just, I'll go back and I'll create a new one and I'll show you, because let me just use my pencil. Okay, so this is another thing with vectors which we talked about. So if I make sealed, so I've kind of closed that, and I'll make one here that's kind of open. Alright, now, excuse me, now if I go into the paintbrush and I try to fill there, you'll see it won't work. Okay, I try it there, it works. So how vectors work is if you want to fill something in, it needs to be closed. So no matter what you draw, if you close the shape, okay, you can then fill it quite easily. And then when you bring that into Illustrator or Flash back on the computers, you can then separate those two as well. So, you know, if I go in here and I'll just bring that down a little bit, you know, I draw a t-shirt, okay, and some pants, and I then go to fill this, you know, there's my t-shirt, there's my pants, okay, because even though I didn't, you know, fill that that pant shape, I guess you could say, and you can undo as well. Because it made its closed shape, because it was, you know, it was cutting up to the bottom of the shirt, it makes that shape that's closed, it'll fill, which is really cool. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So of course, yeah, opacity we talked about, color, you can pick your colors there. It's really cool. It just gives you these nice kind of plain colors. You can go in and mix as well. So you can go here and move your sliders to get an exact color that you want, but again, it's a nice kind of simple color picker. Or you've got your themes. Now, themes are a set of colors that you create. Okay, so from this image, it's now made this theme strip. So if I save that, all right, this is really cool. You then have your theme. Okay, so now you can create new images using that color theme. So if you were going to make all your items, all your images in your movie, you wanted to stick to like a simple palette, like we saw that Jim Guthrie one with the yellows and the blacks. You can create a theme and just use those colors for each new item to save you having to go back and pick those colors again. So, you know, if I go in here now, that's my theme, awesome. I go back and do a whole new one. Go back to my colors here. Oops, that's your color picker, sorry. Back to my colors and go to my themes, and there it is. So now I've got those colors, so they're saved, so I don't have to keep remembering, oh, what colors did I use last time. So that's really cool as well. And that's it. So have a play with that over City Week. And yeah, see how many elements you can do. Like, you know, keep it pretty simple. Use this for maybe, you know, the clouds, or, you know, there's a little lightning bolt thing. There we go. You know, the clouds, we can fill that in. Go back to my paintbrush, there we go. Oh, it's pink. Yeah, for the clouds, or for houses, or for faces, or for people, you know, maybe keep it a bit simple because you've got this canvas to work with. But remember to pinch in, zoom in and out, you know, to do some more finite detail. And you'll be amazed what you can actually do just using your finger. Or if you've got a stylus, that's kind of cool as well. So give that a go. I'm going to have a quick play with it now and see what I can quickly do. Okay, so that was my real quick attempt there. So a few things I quickly learned, because this is the first time I've used it as well. So you'll see that I can move this around. So what you can do is, when you first saw I was using it, I was actually kind of going to move my finger to move the image, and of course I end up drawing like I am now. So what you do, two fingers. If you put two fingers on there, you can move the image and you can pinch it. So, you know, one hand to draw, the other hand to pinch and zoom and move around, which is really cool. So that makes it really easy for you. Obviously, oops, there I go again, but trying to move it with one finger, I do that. So two fingers. Think about your layers. So if you're doing different items, make sure they're on a different layer so you can move around. So you can see my my leaf. I bet you didn't think I was doing that. I can put on a different layer. Okay, so that'll come across too when you actually send it to the computer. So you can do that. And your fill as well. So you can see I started to fill some colors here as an example, but I went to fill the face and it filled in the eye, because if you have a look and zoom in there, I haven't finished that shape. So there you go. So really, really simple, okay? And you can do some simple designs, but a good way to do a whole stack of individual little items, you know, flowers, trees, cats, naked people, to do a whole bunch of those and have them ready to go. So then once you're done with this, it's a matter of basically sharing it. So share means it'll go to another app, so I can open it in another app, or I can do whatever, I can save it to the camera roll, or you basically just email this. So if I email, it'll bring this up. I'm going to send it to me, and then I'll switch across to my computer, and then the second half of this video, and then I'll show you how we'll end up get that into Flash. Okay, so I'll send that, And away we go. Cool. So I'll talk about the other half of the video in a second. We'll switch to my computer. Okay, so now here's my email. So there's my amazing work of art just there. So what it'll do is it'll come as a PDF. So you can print it, you can do whatever you want with it. But what we're going to do is open it up in, I should have it here, Illustrator. Okay, so we'll bring it into Illustrator, which you used at the start of the year. So you should be familiar with this. So here we go. Here's our image in Illustrator here. And the first thing you'll see is when you select it, it'll be one big group. So we need to kind of ungroup that, and now we can start to select these individual elements. And if you have a look here, you can see, if I zoom in, there we go, look at that. So you lose no detail at all because it's a vector. And we can then go back in here, and you can probably, you know, work on some of these details separately, change them around, do whatever you kind of want to them. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. All right, so we can just move him around so you can see. All right, excellent. Now just get into there. So if we have a look, you can actually see all your individual points. The only thing is it does make quite a lot of these control points, so editing it later can be a bit tricky, but you know, hopefully you want to do that because they're going to be quite simple shapes. But yeah, I can move parts of the ear around, you know, I can select the eyeball and move it around. Okay, so it all saves it separately. There's the skin. So you can go back in and you can see, you know, all your colors are here as well. So we can go in and we can select the eye and we can change that. There we go. Got a red eye now. We can add some stroke to it so it has a bit of an outside border, and we can increase that kind of stuff. We can increase the stroke. So yeah, you can go back in and then edit what you got, and then you're ready to go. You know, let's get rid of those stuff ups I did there. Let's get rid of those. I don't want that. You know, I could probably actually go in and fix this eye if I wanted to as well. You know, if I go back into my pencil tool here, I can probably fix that across. So you can see I can actually move that and fix it, but that's a little bit small, so we'll increase that, increase the size, or I can even, you know, use my paintbrush and go in there as well. You can do new layers and play away. And there's our little guy. So now I can save him. So if I save that, I don't want it as a PDF anymore. I want it as an Illustrator file. I'll save it on the desktop, and we'll just call it guy. And blah 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 blah. All good. Now if I open up Flash, so again we only quickly looked at this stuff, so don't stress about this point, because when we get back after your city weeks, we'll look at Flash again and importing these images and how we're going to make them work and make them animate and stuff like that. So give it a second. Cool. Go to my library. Let's just quickly do action script. Let's go new symbol. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and we can start drawing it here, or if I go to my desktop, I should have my guy. There he is, and let's bring him in here. Okay, and you can see again, this is all the separate parts of that layer because it's an Illustrator file. Everything is separate, so you can see every single stroke there that we've made is a separate file. So that's fine, and we'll just import that. And there he is, our little guy. So cute. Ready to go. And he's sitting in there, and he's a vector, so we can obviously increase it, decrease it, we can do whatever we want to it. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So yeah, use that app and do your vector stuff. Again, you can, I mean, we're going to use Photoshop too, so the vectors are for those that want to do like the simple kind of outline drawings, you know, a simple kind of 1-2 color drawing kind of thing like this one is, or we'll be using Photoshop to do the more detailed stuff. So the ones of you that want to like scan hand drawn stuff and add some details and some effects and some shading, we'll use Photoshop for that as well. So lots of options, but that was just a quick one to yeah, to use at the break. So have fun. Oh, and of course the app's free as well. So yeah, that's not going to cost you any money.